As we discussed in class, if we have tension versus length for a rubber band, the points might be these white points here, and a straight line does a pretty good job of modeling these points. If we draw the straight line just right, so that roughly our data points are as close as possible on the average to the line, then we have something close to what we would call the best fit line, and that line might well be a very good model of what the rubber band is actually doing, how the actual tension varies with length. Now, but we're doing this in domino weights. The dominoes vary. Our measurements of length vary, so that any of these points will tend to lie either above or below the actual behavior of the actual line that represents the behavior of that rubber band. Now, we don't actually, the actual best fit line that you, of course, get using technology, regression line, follows the rule, and I'm not going to go into the technical details of it right now, it's easy enough to find, that the square of the distance from the data points, and the distance is measured only vertically. It's not measured perpendicular to the line, it's only measured vertically. It's the square of the distance that actually needs to be minimized to make this thing as statistically valid as possible. Now, straight line does a pretty good job along these points, but there does appear to be kind of a curve, like this red curve, where the rubber band is kind of stiff at the beginning, so that just a little change in length gives you quite a bit of change in tension. Gets less stiff, so that the same change in length will give you less of a change in tension in this region, but then kind of stiffens up again, and you want to be able to think excuse me, about that. So this red curve might well represent the behavior of the rubber band, but you would want a lot more than 5 data points to try to validate that sort of a curve, because these 5 data points could just coincidentally lie above and below what's actually a linear behavior and look like they ought to have this curve. Another possible model is the green curve, where it just kind of does this, kind of a concave down curve. And again, you would need more data points or a lot more certainty in the actual data, a lot less experimental uncertainty in the actual measurements of the tension and the length.